Welcome back to part 35 of the Bugatti Bolide design here, and let's get to it. So in this tutorial, we're gonna be working on um, we're gonna be working on the rear spoiler here, of course. And let me bring up that picture here. All right, so we're gonna create this part here, and then of course the rear spoiler here. All right, so let's get to that, and we will create this the fuel injecting space. So let's get to that one. So what we're gonna do here is, first of all, we're gonna grab a 3D sketch, of course, and then that 3D sketch is going to be a center line, 3D center line. So let's be here for a second and just get into this view here. And we're going to drop a line in this midpoint here, from this midpoint to this midpoint, and then I just zoom out over here a little bit, and we're gonna drop another center line right on the middle of that line that we just created. And then we want to make sure that we are in the X and Y axis here. All right, so that will go straight up like that. All right, so X and Y, and you can change that by pressing the tab bar on your keyboard. All right, so let's just pull it up to here for now. Exit that sketch over there, and then the next thing I want to do is I want to get into this side view here, and I want to bring in our first display here. And what I want to do is I want to grab this point, and I want to pull it to about here, or just to about here, because it goes all the way back there. And then of course first we're gonna create the rear area. So let me bring up that picture here. So first we're gonna bring up this end and the outside edge, and once we created the outside edge, we create the inside edge. Of course we're gonna cut this out afterwards just to make it easier on us. Okay, so let's get into our second display state here, and then that spoiler is gonna start from this corner here for now. So let's exit this sketch here. Okay, and let's grab a new 3D sketch, 3D spline, and let's start from this corner, and then we're gonna go all the way up to this point here. Okay, that's good. And then if we jump into this view here, and if we bring up our first display state, then it's right on the top of that thing which we want, right on top of the spoiler which we want. And then firstly we're going to adjust our spline to fit this edge here. Okay, so let's add a few spline points. Let's add one here, here, and then a few, maybe one more over here. Hope it's not too much. And then just click on this line, and then bring up our control polygons, and then click on this point, and then we're just gonna come in here and set our spline to fit that. So something like that. I don't really want this to be coming from this angle. I'd rather be in this angle. Anyways, we're gonna cut this part out. You will see. So let's bring this out to about here, and just roughly get this into shape here. Of course I want this to be straight over here, and I want to get some kind of corner here. All right. So that looks good. Almost. Maybe just to fix this a little bit. And put this in here a little bit. Okay, so that looks good from here. And now let's fix it from the rear here as well. And we will, of course, we will jump back to the top to make sure that we are on target. So let's pull this point up a little bit here. And all these here. And then we're gonna get these somewhat straight here, like that. Okay, so let's where was I? Yes, so I was here. Let's make that straight, something like that. And I want to make nice sharp corner here, and I want to make a sharp corner here. Okay, and then let's jump back on the top and just fix up a line from here. Somewhat like that. And we're gonna leave this here because our spline and SolidWorks is telling us that it's really trying to help us figure that surface out. Alright, so let's jump back into the rear now. And that's the best we're gonna do with this one here. Okay, so let's leave that as is, and we can come back later and fix it up if we need to. Okay, and we got our sharp corners here, which we need. That's good. So exit, let's just jump back on the top to have a look. Let's pull this back out a little bit. All right, and let's check again from the rear. Okay, that looks good. Let's just check one more time from the top. Okay, let's check for one more time from the back. Still have that corner, which is good. Okay. All right. So the next point that we are looking for. The next point we're looking for is actually, it's going to be this point here, this edge here. Okay, so let's exit this sketch. Okay, let's make a sketch. Let's make a sketch on this plane here. That's a normal sketch, it's not a 3D sketch. And we're gonna grab a point and drop that point somewhere here. Okay. And if we jump into our second display state, you can see that point falls right where we want it to be. So let's exit the sketch. And let's jump into a 3D sketch through this spline, and we're gonna go from this point to this point here. So we're not going to make any adjustment to this line in terms from the top, but only from the back. Okay, so let's bring back our second display state here, and let's get into view. And what we're going to do is we're going to follow this basically not the lower end, not the very lower end, because if we look at if you look at this picture here, we can see that it's not starting from here, but that edge is starting from here and goes all, so the inner edge is actually, it's straight with this one. So if you would look on the other side, it comes straight with this one. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to follow this line here and then follow this lower edge here like that. Okay, so let's have a look. Okay, so let's add a few spline points on this one. All right, let's add a few spline points here. I don't want to add too much, and I don't want to add too little as well. And then let's click back on this line and add our control polygons and click on this point here. Okay, and then I want to add that corner here. Okay, and then we're gonna go straight with this corner here and create that corner somewhere here. Okay, and let's have a look at the sketch. All right, and we can come back later and adjust it as further if we need to. All right, so the next sketch we're going to add is going to be a 3D spline. So another 3D spline here from this point to this point here. And we're gonna get into view here. And as I said before, I want this to come straight all the way here and then make the curve at the end. So let's grab that. I want this to be straight, so I'm going to add a couple of spline points here, maybe 2. And click back on that line and add our control polygon. So I want this to be straight here, and maybe we bring that curvature all the way to the back like that. Okay, exit the sketch. Okay, and now let's create that surface and see what we got. Okay, so let's go to surfaces and let's try and do a boundary surface. So selection manager, select this one, and then select this one here, and for direction 2 select that sketch there, and let's have a look at the surface. All right, so our surface is looking good. However, I think the sharpness is enough on that one. We don't want to add any more sharpness onto it, because we could, but for my taste, I'm just gonna leave it like that. I'm pretty happy with this sharpness as it is. Okay, that's pretty good. And then I'm just going to mirror this over. Oh, not yet. I'm not going to mirror it over yet. What I want to do is jump back into our first display state, and I want to add a glass appearance glass appearance on the whole thing here. Okay, and I want to edit that glass appearance. So let's click on this glass appearance and let's do an edit appearance. And once we edit, click on that, let's go to advanced and let's click on illumination. And then let's bring up the transparency on that one a little bit so we can see through a little bit better. Press OK. So now we can see through and see how much we have to cut. All right. So let's go ahead and create a sketch on the top plane. And let's jump into normal to profile. And then we're gonna grab a spline, and then we're gonna come with this spline from here to down here, and of course we will add some fillets. Let's go over here, and maybe we can just bring this point a little bit lower like that, and then maybe just add a little profile like that. Okay, and then grab another spline and then bring the spline up to here, and then grab another spline and bring that spline from here to here. Of course I want this line to be straight, so bring this line right. I want to bring it right in the middle. Right, so somewhere here. Okay, that looks good, that looks good. And I can click on this line and make that vertical. Now that's a vertical line. And then let's add some fillets on this corner here and this corner here. Press OK. All right. And then we're just going to mirror these entities over to the other side. So let's grab a center line, drop that center line right on the center. And then once we've done that, let's mirror these entities. Let's mirror these lines over the center line here. And just make sure that we are touching good. All right, so let's jump back into the glass here and remove the appearance for now. Okay, and then let's go to surfaces and trim surface. And we already selected the trim tool, so let's trim this side here. That's okay. Okay, that's good. Let's jump back into our second display state. Let's remove the appearance. Remove appearance. That looks good. And let's mirror this over to the other side. So features, mirror, and for mirror plane is this plane here, and then bodies to mirror is going to be this body here. Okay, so that spoiler looks pretty awesome. I'm pretty happy with it. However, it's not finished yet. So let's just have a look from the side here, and that looks pretty good. Alright, so let's save our project here. Right, so let's continue creating this rear section here. So we're not gonna have to make a cut. So we're gonna cut out all the way down to here. Cut all the way down to about here or so. Let's make a sketch on the top plane here. But first, let's add a center line here. Okay, and then let's grab a line and just cut all the way into here like that. And then let's mirror this line over the center line here. And then we're just going to make a straight line between these 2 points. And let's go to surfaces and trim out this section here. Okay, so now that we trim that section out, what I want to do next is I want to bring up a straight line here from that corner. So I want to grab a 3D sketch, 3D center line, and I want to bring that center line up from this corner here, and I want to bring that up on the X and Y axis. So I want to bring it up to about here, about that much. And I just want to have a look at that. How tall is that? So probably gonna bring that down a little bit, so it's not too much top. Probably about here. But again, it's up to your taste, right? So I'm gonna bring that all the way up to here, and then and the next thing is I'm gonna grab a spline and bring that spline from here to here. And I'm going to give this spline a little bit of profile. Something like that. Okay, exit this one here. All right, and then let's create a surface between these two, between this edge here and this line. Let's flip these connectors. Press OK. And let's mirror the small surface over to this side here. So let's go do a mirror, and then let's use this as a mirror face plane, and then bodies to mirror, and it's going to be this body here. Okay, and let's just double check. Okay, we're looking good. And then I want to go to surfaces here, and I want to connect these small surface to the spoiler. And I want to connect this small surface to this spoiler here. Okay, and once I've done that, I want to create a surface between these 2 points here. So let's go to boundary surface and just select these 2 edges here. Press OK. Okay, that looks good. And then let's do a connect between this one and this surface here. So I selected that one, I guess. All right, so we can leave it as is, or we can try and probably add a fillet here in this corner. Let's try a face fillet between this face and this face, and let's flip these. At first, let's just put here one, see if that will let us do that one, and then let's try and flip these points. No. Okay, so we're gonna leave it as is, and then that actually looks pretty good. And see if we can add a small fillet on these edges here. So no, we're gonna leave it as is, or maybe we're gonna come back later on and then work with a little bit more if it's not what we are after. But for now, we're gonna leave it as is. I'm pretty happy with it actually. Okay, so let's save the model here, and then we get onto the centerpiece. All right, so for the centerpiece, we're going to get into view from the side. Okay, but before we do that, we're gonna grab the section view, and then we're gonna get just half of it so we can see a little bit better. We're gonna be able to see a little bit better here. So it's a little bit more than something like that. Okay, so we're gonna see very good like that. And then let's make a sketch. And let's not make a sketch on the front plane. Let's make a 3D sketch. So 3D sketch. And then let's get into this view here. Okay, and then let's jump into our first display state. So, and then first, parents. Okay, so this is what we're looking for, this line here. Okay, so let's create that 3D sketch. So let's grab that spline. And we are not going to sketch onto that, but a little bit above it. And we're gonna start from somewhere about here, right above it. And then we're gonna come out with this line all the way back here. And then let's come down with this line, with this spline, all the way about here. Okay. And then let's grab that spline again. And then as you can see, that's where it stops. Okay, and if we zoom in, we kind of have to bring this up a little bit to about here. Okay, and then another spline, and that's our line here, right here. So let's click on this line here, and then we're gonna come. We're not going to touch the edge. You probably understand what I mean, but we're not going to touch the edge because we need to create a filleted surface that will connect onto that. So right above that surface. Something like that. Okay, and then now we're just going to grab a spline and then connect these 2 points together. And we're going to add our profile onto this line here. So let's grab that line and then bring it until, of course, it's on the same level as the front and the back. Okay, so that's good. Exit this sketch here. Okay, and then let's get rid of the section view, and then let's get back into our second display state. Okay, so we are all the way good, and we're not touching anything in terms of surface, and then we're not touching anything here as well, so that's good. And of course, there's going to be a connecting mechanism that will connect onto the spoiler here as well, so that's good. Okay, so let's make this sketch into a fill surface. So let's select fill surface and select this sketch here. Okay, and let's thicken this surface. And we want to thicken it on both sides. Right, and let's just try at 2.5. Or maybe just try 2. And I think 2 is going to be our thickness, which is good. Press OK. All right, so that's a good thickness right there. And then what we need to do now is add a nice chamfer on these corners. So let's click on the chamfer, and then let's say 1 here for now, and then let's click on this edge here. Okay, and then we're going to press flip direction here, and then we're going to raise the degrees here, right? All right, something like that. And let's add some, let's make this into 2. So it will jump to the middle, and then we can take some off from this here. So let's actually that should be the one that we are after. And here we can try, instead of 2, let's try 2.5. Or 1.5. Okay, 1.5, and then 1.5. We don't want to go all the way down. We want to leave a little bit here. So let's try 1.7 instead. That looks a lot better. Okay. And then let's jump to the other side. Chamfer. And it will leave us a small piece here. So press OK. That's good. And then let's go and add a fillets on this corner here. Okay, let's try like that. All right, and we're gonna do the same thing on this side. Fillet 120. Okay, good. And now we're going to, so now it looks really good. We have a fillet and a chamfer as well. So now we're going to jump into the top here and just add a fillet on these top corners. So let's just put one here. Or 0.5, 0.1, 0.3, and 0.3 on both ends here. Perfect. So it will give us a nice rounded edge on the top part over there. So exactly what we are looking for. All right, so I want to save the project here. Let's see how much time we have left. We still have time. Okay, and then we want to add this camera, this rear camera in this middle section here as well. So let's grab onto the plane and add a plane here. So let's bring the plane all the way back here. And then let's try 270. I think 270 is a bit too much. So 265. Okay, we're gonna go with 265. Okay, and we're gonna make a sketch on this plane here. And what I wanna do is I wanna click on this face here so I can see where we should put our circle. So let's grab a circle here. And we're gonna drop our circle camera actually somewhere here. And it's going to fall out a little bit. Like that much. Okay, and then we're just going to extrude that. Reverse the extrude. And we're gonna go all the way in like that. Press OK. Alright, so that looks good. And one more thing left to do here is we're going to add some nice fillet on these inner edges here. Make that just 20. Control Z, I think that's a little bit too much. So let's go again, and instead let's choose a chamfer. And let's choose this corner, inside corner here. And let's just select one. Not global one, but one. And let's select on both sides, hopefully it does. Okay, that looks a lot better. All right. And then let's see if we can add a fillet on these corners actually. And I want to just select one here. And let's try 3 and see what we get. Okay, so that looks a lot better, but what I want to do actually is I want to get rid of actually this one here and get rid of that chamfer here. Okay, and then I want to come back in here and I want to add a fillet on these 2 edges here, and I want to make this bigger. So let's try 6 or maybe try 8, and let's see if we can do it on, well, maybe do it after, but let's do it on this side first, and then let's have a look. That looks good. Okay, and then let's do it on this side as well. So I'll select this edge and select this edge. All right, so perfect. So we're going to leave this tutorial here at this point, and then in the next tutorial, when we come back, we're going to create the fuel injection hole here, and then hopefully just tidying up some bits. Maybe we need some fixtures here that holds the spoiler on this side as well, and some other bits and pieces and the logo in the front, and hopefully we're gonna get to the wheels as well. All right guys, so thanks very much for staying with me in this tutorial, and I'll see you back in the next tutorial.